Hello, travelers. Welcome in. Today, as you can see, we are here with some more Tales with Time. Of course, we are still continuing Project Hail Mary. We are still, like, not even halfway through the book, okay? Like, no, not even halfway through. Like, we're almost halfway through. Like, we're about to hit halfway through. So maybe we'll hit halfway through, in this stream. I'm looking. Okay, I think we'll hit like halfway through in this stream. I think so. Hopefully everyone had a good Thursday. My Thursday was pretty alright. I get paid tonight, so I'm excited about that. But no, it's pretty alright. I also have my drink of choice today is water, cause I need it. And also I have mini pepperonis, cause I really just wanted pepperoni, and it tastes really good. So you might hear me chewing on these every once in a while. But they're just so good. Oh, they're just so good. Sorry, I'm snacking. I was just really craving these for some reason. Oh, delicious. But yeah. Anyway, Project Hail Mary. I'm ready to see, where did we leave off? Sup, Edgelord, I see you there. You're gonna listen to me read a book? Wow. That's crazy. Oh, hold on, let me see. Oh, I just saw your response, by the way. No, you don't, like, shut up. No, I can look at it for you. I'll look at it for you. Because I literally, when I had to do, like, all my stuff, I had my mom, like, religiously check it. Because that's literally all she does. Like, well, it's not all she does. But she's very good at it. So, but yeah, I can double check it for you. When you have it done and stuff. I can also just help you do it, too. Dun, 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 dun. But yes, I'm so excited to get back into the book. Last where we left off is I think they already met, Rocky and Grace. Yes, Rocky and Grace already met. I'm looking at it right now. Oh, Grace is in the process of trying to communicate with Rocky, is what we're at. Hi, Skelly. Your overworked traveler's here. Oh, no. I know, you weren't the first one in here. I was so surprised. Edgelord beat you to it. Overworked and underpaid? Hell yeah. Amen. Rocky is great, alien statement. Truly, yes. I know, you've been having it rough this week, Skelly, huh? You've been doing, like, early shifts, too. Oh, and then you stay up watching my streams? My goodness. It's because I just got home from work. Damn! Oh my god, you work, like, 16-hour days, my dude. That's just not healthy. It's just not healthy. Why is my dog looking at me? Oh, you want pepperoni slice? Is that why you're over here? You're not getting none. You better go away. I'm not giving you none. Go, shoo. Go lay down. Go. I'm not giving you any of my pepperoni, bro. Go away. My gosh. Greedy. Going away does not mean circling back when I don't look at you. Nor does it mean just sitting across the room and staring at me. Go to sleep or something. My god. Today I work 7 a.m. to 6:30, then 8:45 to, I'll say 11. Christ. My god, man. So you only get, like, what? Not even, well, a little bit over an hour break. Or maybe, like, 2 hours. No, that'd be 2 hours, because, yeah, a little bit over 2 hours. Damn. Oh, no. I could never. I've been like, I'd rather just die, actually. Thanks. That's crazy. Sorry, I'm chewing on more pepperoni. Go away, Harvest. Go lay down. I'm not giving you any. Don't sniff my hand. There's nothing in there for you. He's begging me for food. But I'm not sharing these. They're mine. They're my mini pepperonis. And they're very delicious. But yes. Anyway, we might as well go ahead and get on with it. I'm gonna leave the music on because I think it adds a nice... I don't know, should I keep the music on? Maybe I should turn it off. I'll turn it off when we start. I did get home at like 7 p.m. and drove to the drive around 8:20. Is the audio cutting out? I hope it's not. Is it cutting out for you guys? Everything looks fine on my end, at least. My mic's looking alright. Maybe it's because of the music. Maybe we'll turn the music off. We'll do that. I'll turn the music off. Music is off. Now you're golden on my end. Okay. But yes, we're going to go ahead and get into expectations as always. For those of you who have been here before, you know I go over these every single time just because some of you may be new or some of you just coming in and have never seen the expectations. Well, here they are. So, expectation number 1. No spoilers. You may have seen the movie. You may have read or listened to the book. That's fantastic. That's great. Glad that you're here for this journey again. But please, please, please keep your spoilers to yourself because unlike me, a lot of people don't like spoilers. So... which leads me to number 2, respect. A lot of people may have differing opinions about what is happening, or topics or themes in the book. That is okay. Just remember to respect each other's opinions because we all have different opinions on things and stuff like that. Also, while I am reading, I do not mind if you chat. I don't mind if you do any of that. Just please don't spam things like, Skelly, take it away from me. As always. While I eat more pepperoni. This pepperoni is so fucking good. Let me sneeze the ad too real quick. Yeah, don't spam things like pussy, dick, cock, boobs, sex, cunt. Yeah, don't spam things like that, okay? No else spam, okay? Otherwise, ew. Why, Skelly? Why? But anyway, if you start spamming things like that, my 2 mods that you see, and eventually my 3rd mod, my head mod, Lemus will come in and kick you out into the void. So don't spam things like that, all right? No, of course, every once in a while, I will say the word cock because I mean to say clock and then just end up saying that. And it's all right if you're like, she said cock, that's fine. I don't care about that. Like, go ahead and do that. Just don't spam the word, okay? And number 3. Leading into number 3, I am not a professional reader, okay? I love reading, but I don't usually read out loud unless I'm reading to the kids that I work with. So if I mess up a word or I stumble, or sometimes I even will stop and say my own opinion on what's happening, or I'll look at the chat and I'll read it, and then I'll have a conversation with you guys for about like 10 minutes like I'm doing now. But if you would like to hear a professional reading, which is on to my next expectation, number 4, please check out the book and check out the audiobook. I've heard that the audiobook is fantastic, the voice acting in it, and the book itself is so good so far, and also the movie is freaking fantastic. We watched it, not in stream, but we watched it in a Discord party, what was that, a couple weeks now, maybe a month or 2 ago, and it was very, very good. So my stream seems to be like 30 seconds behind or something. I think it is a little bit behind, but that's okay. That's all right. But yes, having said that, we are in chapter 12, and I'm going to shove my face full of pepperonis real quick because they are in my hand and they're really good. And I know I'm going to be reading, so I can't really stop and eat them. Well, I mean, I could stop and eat them. It's my fucking stream. I can do whatever the fuck I want. But common courtesy, I'm not going to eat them while I'm reading, so you don't have to hear me smack my lips while I'm reading. Yeah, definitely like a few months ago. Damn, these pepperonis are so good. Alright. Listen up, losers. Still chewing it. Let me take a sip of my water. Refreshing. Alright. Are we ready? Get comfy, grab your blankets, grab your stuffies or your pillows, whatever, I don't care what you have. Or if you're getting ready to go, like, do something, then put me on in the background, whatever it may be, grab your drinks, and just get settled down. We're about to hop in. Harvest, I'm not giving you any fucking pepperoni, so stop drooling on my leg, please. Ready? I gotta do laundry, so I have to stay up for a bit. Okay. Alright, ready? Chapter 12. Tap, tap, tap. The sound barely penetrates my consciousness. It's far away. Tap, tap, tap. I wake up from a dreamless sleep. Huh? Tap, tap, tap. Ugh, breakfast, I mumble. The mechanical arms reach into a compartment and pull out a packaged meal. It's like Christmas every morning around here. I pull the top off and steam wafts out in all directions. There's a breakfast burrito inside. Nice, I say. Coffee? Preparing. I take a bite of the breakfast burrito. It's good. All the food is good. I guess they figured if we're going to die, we may as well eat good stuff. Coffee, says the computer. A mechanical arm hands me a pouch with a pinch straw in it. Like a Capri Sun for adults. 0G accommodations. I let the burrito float nearby and take a sip of coffee. It's delicious, of course. It even has just the right amount of cream and sugar. That's a very personal preference that varies wildly from person to person. Tap, tap, tap. What is that anyway? I checked the LCD screen taped near my bunk. Rocky is in the tunnel tapping in the divider wall. Computer, how long was I asleep? Patient was unconscious for 10 hours and 17 minutes. Oh, crud. I wriggle out of my bedding and bounce up through the ship toward the control room. I carry the burrito and coffee with me because I'm starving. I bounce into the tunnel. Sorry. Rocky taps the divider louder than before now that I'm here. He points to the popsicle stick numbers I tape to the divider and then to his clock. He balls one of his hands into a fist. I'm sorry. I clasp my hands together as if praying. I don't know what else to do. There's no interplanetary symbol for supplication. I don't know if he understands, but he clenches his fist. Maybe it was a mild admonishment. I mean, he could have made 5 fists, but he only made 1. Anyway, I kept him waiting for over 2 hours. He's understandably upset. Hopefully this next trick will make up for it. I hold up a finger. He returns the gesture. I grab my duct tape laptops and launch the waveform analysis software on one and the Excel on the other. I press them against the tunnel walls and secure them there with tape. I pull the popsicle stick numbers off the divider wall. They're as good a place to start as any. I hold up the eye and point to it. 1, I say. 1. I point to my mouth, then back to the Iridian number. 1. Then I point to Rocky. He points to the eye and says, that's a fucking music note. Okay? And says music note. That's what I'm just gonna say, music note. Because I don't know the names of the fucking music notes. What am I, a fucking music genius? No, I'm not. So I'm gonna say music note every time he says a fucking music note, okay? I pause the waveform analyzer and scroll back a few seconds. There we go. Rocky's word for 1 is just 2 notes played at the same time. There are a bunch of harmonics and resonances in there too, but the main frequency peaks are just 2 notes. I type 1 into the spreadsheet on the other computer and note the relevant frequencies. Okay. Oh yeah, tweet. I'll say tweet. Okay. I return to the divider and hold up the V symbol. 2, I say. Tweet, he says. Another 1 syllable word, not symbol. The oldest words in a language are usually the shortest. This time, it's a chord made of 4 distinct notes. I enter 2 and record the frequencies for that word. He starts to get excited. I think he knows what I'm up to, and it's got him happy. I hold up the upside-down Y, and before I can even speak, he points to it and says, tweet. Excellent. Our first 2-syllable word. I have to scroll back and forth a bit in the waveform data to get the chords right. The first syllable has just 2 notes, and the second has 5. Rocky can make at least 5 different notes at the same time. He must have multiple sets of vocal cords or something. Well, he has 5 arms and 5 hands, so why not 5 sets of vocal cords? I don't see a mouth anywhere. The notes are just coming from somewhere inside him. When I first heard him speak, I thought it sounded like a whale song. That may have been more accurate than I thought. Whales sound like they do because they move air back and forth across their vocal cords without expelling it. Rocky may be doing the same thing. Tap, 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 tap. What? I look back at him. He points to the upside-down Y, symbol still in my hand, and then to me. Then back to the upside-down Y and back to me. He's almost frantic about it. Oh, sorry, I say. I hold the digit up properly and say, 3. He does jazz hands. I throw some jazz hands back. Huh. While we're on the subject... I stand still for a moment, so he'll know there was a break in the conversation. Then I do jazz hands and say, yes. I repeat the gesture, yes. He does it back to me and says, tweet. Oh my gosh, sorry. I laugh at my tweets. I note and record the frequencies in my laptop. Okay, we have yes in our vocabulary now, I say. Tap, tap, tap. I look over. Once he knows he has my attention, he does jazz hands again and says, tweet. Same chord as before. Yes, I say, we covered this. He holds up a finger for a moment. Then he balls 2 of his fists and taps them together. Tweet. What? Oh, I say, I'm a teacher. What would I teach someone who just learned the word yes? That's no. At least, I hope so. Tweet, tweet, bitch. Yes. I ball my fists and tap them together. No. Tweet, tweet, he says. I check the laptop. He just said yes. Wait, does that mean it's not no? Is that another yes? No, I'm confused. No, I ask. No, he says in Iridian. So, yes. No, yes. Yes? No, no. Yes, yes? No! He balls a fist at me, clearly frustrated. Enough of this interspecies Abbott and Costello routine. I hold up a finger. He unballs his fist and returns the gesture. I enter the frequencies for what I think is no into my spreadsheet. If I'm wrong, and we'll work it out later. I hold up the symbol plus. I hold up the plus symbol. 4. He holds up 3 fingers on one hand and 1 finger on another. Tweet! I make a note of the frequencies. For the next several hours, we expand our shared vocabulary to several thousand words. Language is kind of an exponential system. The more words you know, the easier it is to describe new ones. Communication is hampered by my slow and clumsy system for listening to Rocky. I check the frequencies he emits with one laptop, then look them up in my spreadsheet on the other laptop. It's not a great system. I've had enough. I love early language challenges. Oh, yes. Oh my gosh, when I was in college before, I took sign language, and it was a lot of fun. I very much enjoyed it, but oh my god, there was like moments where I literally would like stare at my like professor and with just the blankest look on my face as he was like throwing up like hand signs. Like it looks like he was throwing up gang signs, honestly. And I literally would watch him and I'm like, I swear he just signed. I swear he did the fucking blood sign to me. I'm not even I was like, and a lot of times I would have to make like the hand sign for like, can you repeat that? Like 10 times around, like, can you repeat that? Because it just wouldn't like, it's because I get like so distracted like watching like the hands move that it doesn't process in my mind unless I like get it, I see it a couple of times, you know. Oh my gosh, I love sign language. Honestly, I would love to take another class on it and like actually learn more on it because I only took like 1 class, but it was a lot of fun. Anyway, where was I? I excused myself for an hour to write some software. I'm not a computer expert, but I know some rudimentary programming. I write a program to take the audio analysis software's output and look up the words in my table. It's barely even a program, more of a script. It's not efficient at all, but computers are fast. Fortunately, Rocky speaks with musical chords. While it's very difficult to make a computer turn human speech into text, it's very easy to make a computer identify musical notes and find them in a table. From that point on, my laptop screen shows me the English translation of what Rocky is saying in real time. When a new word comes up, I enter it into my database, and the computer knows it from then on. Rocky, meanwhile, doesn't use any system to record what I'm saying or doing. No computer, no writing implement, no microphone. Nothing. He just pays attention. And as far as I can tell, he remembers everything I told him. Every word. Even if I only told it to him once several hours earlier. If only my students were that attentive. I suspect Iridians have much better memory than humans. Broadly speaking, the human brain is a collection of software hacks compiled into a single, somehow, functional unit. Each feature was added as a random mutation that solves some specific problem to increase our odds of survival. In high school, I was asked to participate in a social program, and I agreed. I was the only person born in America. Everyone else was born in Asia, and English was their second language, so I became an English dictionary. I love that, though. That's amazing. Where was I? In short, the human brain is a mess. Everything about evolution is messy, so I assume Iridians are also a mess of random mutations. But whatever led to their brain being how they are gave them what we humans would call photographic memory. It's probably even more complicated than that. Humans have a whole chunk of our brains dedicated to sight, and it even has its own memory cache. Maybe Iridians are just really good at remembering sounds. After all, it's their primary sense. I know it's too early, but I can't wait any longer. I get a vial of astrophage from the lab supplies and bring it to the tunnel. I hold it up. Astrophage, I say. Oh, no, you're fine. Shit, where was I? Rocky's entire posture changes. He hunkers his carapace a little lower. He tightens his claws a bit on the bars he uses to keep in place. Tweet, 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 he says, his voice more quiet than usual. I check the computer. It's not a word I've recorded yet. It must be his word for astrophage. I note it in the database. I point to the vial. Astrophage. Astrophage on my star. Bad. Oh, Jesus. Tweet, 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 Rocky says. The computer translates. Astrophage on me star. Bad, bad, bad. Okay. Theory confirmed. He's here for the same reason I am. I want to ask so many more questions, but we just don't have the words. It's infuriating. Tweet, 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 Rocky says. My computer pops up the text. You come from where? Question. Rocky has picked up the basic word ordering of English. I think he realized early on that I can't automatically remember stuff, so he works with my system rather than trying to teach me his. I probably seem pretty stupid, honestly. But some of his own grammar sneaks in once in a while. He always ends a question with the word question. No understand, I say. You stars, what name? Question. Oh, I say, he wants the name of my star. Sol. My star is called Sol. Understand. Iridian name for you star is tweet tweet tweet. I note down the new word. That's Rocky's word for soul. Unlike two humans fumbling to communicate, Rocky and I can't even pronounce each other's proper nouns. My name for your star is Eridani, I say. Technically, we call it 40 Eridani, but I decide to keep it simple. Iridian name for my star is tweet tweet tweet. I add the word to the dictionary. Understand. Good. I don't have to read the computer screen for that particular translation. I've started to recognize some of the more frequent words like you, me, good, bad, etc. I've never been artistic, and I'm about as far from having a musical ear as anyone can be, but after you hear a chord 100 times, you tend to remember it. I check my watch. Yes, I have a watch now. The stopwatch has a clock feature. It took me a while to notice. I had other things on my mind. We've been at it all day, and I'm exhausted. Do Iridians even know what sleep is? I guess it's time to find out. Human bodies must sleep. Sleep is this. I curl up into a ball and close my eyes in an overdramatic representation of sleep. I make a fake snoring sound because I'm a bad actor. I return to normal and point to his clock. Humans sleep for 29,000 seconds. Along with perfect memory, Iridians are extremely good at math. At least, Rocky is. As we worked our way through scientific units, it became immediately apparent that he can convert from his units to mine in the blink of an eye. And he has no problem understanding base 10. Many seconds, he says. Why be still so many seconds? Question. Understand. He relaxes his limbs and they go limp. He curls up like a dead bug and remains motionless for a while. Iridian same, tweet tweet. Oh, thank God. I can't imagine explaining sleep to someone who has never heard of it. Hey, I'm going to fall unconscious and hallucinate for a while. By the way, I spend a third of my time doing this, and if I can't do it for a while, I go insane and eventually die. No need for concern, though. I add his word for sleep to the dictionary. I turn to leave. I'm going to sleep now. I'll come back in 29,000 seconds. I observe, he says. You observe? I observe. He wants to watch me sleep? In any other context, that would be creepy. But when you're studying a new life form, it's appropriate, I guess. I will be still for 29,000 seconds, I warn him. Many seconds. I will not do anything. I observe. Wait. He returns to his ship. Is he finally going to get something to take notes with? After a few minutes, he comes back with the device in one of his hands, and a satchel held in two more. I observe. I point to the device. What is that? Tweet tweet. He pulls some kind of tool out of the satchel. Tweet tweet. Not function. He pokes the device with the tool a few times. I change. Tweet tweet function. I don't bother to note down the new word. What would I enter it as? Thing Rocky was holding that one time? Whatever it is, it has a couple of wires sticking out and an opening that reveals some complex internals. The object itself is irrelevant. The point is, he's repairing it. New word for us. Fix, I say. You fix. Tweet tweet, he says. I add fix to the dictionary. I suspect it'll come up a lot. He wants to watch me sleep. He knows it's going to be exciting, but Oh, he knows it's not going to be exciting, but he wants to do it anyway. So he brought some work with him to keep busy. Okay, whatever floats his boat. Wait, I say. I return to the ship and head to the dormitory. I pull the mattress pad, sheets, and blankets from my bunk. I could use one of the other two bunks, but they had my dead friends in them, so I don't want to. I bring the pad and sheets through the lab, awkwardly through... Wait. I bring the pad and sheets through the lab, awkwardly through the control room and into the tunnel. I use a copious amount of duct tape to affix the mattress pad to the wall, then cinch up the sheets and blanket. I sleep now, I say. Sleep. I turn off the lights in the tunnel. Total darkness for me, no effect for Rocky, who wants to watch me. Best of both worlds. I shimmy into bed and resist the urge to say goodnight. It would just lead to more questions. Hail Mary still. Hello. Yes, it is still Hail Mary. Also, hi, Gilbert. Welcome in. We are literally, just now reaching halfway through the book, by the way. This book was fucking thick, man. It was so thick. But the next book I think I want to read is Dungeon Crawler Carl 2, so, Anyway. I drift off to the occasional clink and scrape of Rocky working on his device. And now we're in a time skip. Okay. The next several days are repetitive, but far from boring. We greatly increase our shared vocabulary and a decent amount of grammar. Tenses, plurals, conditionals, language is tricky, but we're getting it piece by piece. I know, I feel like it's been so long since I've read it, because I feel like I read it last week, I think, I'm sure. But I felt like it's been forever. Anyway. And slow though the process is, I'm memorizing more of his language. I don't need the computer as often, though I still can't go without it completely. That'll take a long time. I spend an hour every day studying Iridian vocabulary. I made a little script to pick random words from my Excel spreadsheet and play the notes with a MIDI app. Again, a rudimentary program inefficiently written, but computers are fast. I want to be free of the spreadsheet as soon as I can. For now, I still need it all the time, but once in a while I'll understand an entire sentence without resorting to the computer. Baby steps. I remember chapter 3 or 4. I think we're in chapter 12 now. Every night, I sleep in the tunnel. He watches. I don't know why. We haven't talked about it yet. We've been too busy with other stuff, but he really doesn't want me to sleep without him watching, even if I just want to catch a quick nap. Today, I want to work on an extremely important scientific unit that's been eluding us, mainly because we live in 0G. We need to talk about mass. Yes, kilogram. Right. How do I tell you about a kilogram? I ask. Rocky produces a small ball from his satchel. It's about the size of a ping pong ball. I know mass of this ball. You measure. You tell me how many kilogram ball is. Then I know kilogram. He thought it through. Yes, give me the ball. He hangs on to several support poles with various hands and puts it in the mini airlock. After a few minutes of waiting for it to cool, I have it in my hands. It's smooth and made of a metal. Made of a metal. Fairly dense, I think. How will I measure this? I mumble. 26, Rocky says out of nowhere. What about 26? He points to the ball in my hand. Ball is 26. Oh, I get it. The ball weighs 26 of something. Whatever his unit is. Okay, all I have to do is work out the mass of this ball, divide it by 26, and tell him the answer. I understand. The ball is a mass of 26. No, is not. I pause. It isn't? Is not. Ball is 26. I don't understand. He thinks for a moment, then says, wait. He disappears into his ship. While he's gone, I speculate on how to weigh something in 0G. It still has mass, of course, but I can't just put it on a scale. There's no gravity, and I can't spin up the Hail Mary's centrifugal gravity. The tunnel's connected to her nose. I could make a small centrifuge, something big enough for the smallest lab scale I have, rotate it at some constant rate with the scale inside, measure something I know the mass of, and then measure the ball. I could calculate the mass of the ball from the ratio of the two measurements, but I'd have to build a consistent centrifuge. How would I do that? I can spin something in the 0G environment of the lab easily enough, but how do I spin it at a constant rate across multiple experiments? Oh, I don't need a constant rate. I just need a string with a mark in the center. I fly into the Hail Mary. Rocky will forgive me for running off. Heck, he can probably observe me he can probably observe me from wherever he is on his ship anyway. I bring the ball down to the lab. I get a piece of nylon string and tie each end around a plastic sample canister. I now have a string with little buckets at each end. I pull the canisters next to each other and pull the now folded string taut. I use a pen to mark the farthest point. That's the exact center of this contraption. I wave the ball back and forth with my hand to get a feel for its mass. Probably less than a pound. Less than half a kilogram. I leave everything floating in the lab and kick my way down to the dormitory. Water, I say. Water requested, says the computer. The middle arms hand me a 0G sipper of water. Just a plastic pouch with a straw on it that only lets water through if you unlatch a little clip. And inside is 1 liter of water. The arms always give me water a liter at a time. You have to stay hydrated if you want to save the world. I return to the lab. I squirt about half of the water into a sample box and seal it. I put the half-depleted sipper into one of the buckets and the metal ball into the other. I set the whole thing spinning in the air. The two masses clearly aren't equal. The lopsided rotation of the two connected containers shows the water side is much heavier. Good. That's what I wanted. I pluck it out of the air and take a sip of water. I started spinning again. Still off center, but not as bad. I take more sips, do more spins, take more sips, and so on until my little device rotates perfectly around the marked center point. That means the mass of the water is equal to the mass of the ball. I pull out the sippy. I know the density of water. It's 1 kilogram per liter, so all I need to know is the volume of this water to know its mass and therefore the mass of the metal ball. I get a large plastic syringe from the supplies. It can pull a maximum of 100 cc of volume. I attach the syringe to the sippy and unclip the straw. I draw out 100 cc of water and squirt it into my wastewater box. I repeat this a few more times. The last syringe is only about a quarter full when I empty the bag. Result: 325 cc's of water, which weighs 325 grams. Therefore, Rocky's ball also weighs 325 grams. I return to the tunnel to tell Rocky all about how smart I am. He balls a fist at me as I enter. You left. Bad. I measured the mass. I made a very smart experiment. He holds up a string with beads on it. 26. The beaded string is just like the ones he sent me back when we talked about our atmospheres. Oh, I say, it's an atom. That's how he talks about atoms. I count the beads. There are 26 in all. He's talking about element 26, one of the most common elements on Earth. Iron, I say. I point at the necklace. Iron. He points at the necklace and says, tweet, tweet, tweet. I record the word in my dictionary. Iron, he says again, pointing at the necklace. Iron. He points to the ball in my hand. Iron. It takes a second to sink in. Then I slap my forehead. You are bad. It was a fun experiment, but a total waste of time. Rocky was giving me all the information I needed, or trying to at least. I know how dense iron is, and I know how to calculate the volume of a spear. Getting to mass from there is just a little arithmetic. Arithmetic. Reminds me Reminds me that astronauts do have a way of weighing themselves in space because astronauts' weight is yeah, that is true. That is true because they lose a lot of mass in space and whatnot. I read something about that or saw something about that. I don't remember now. It's fucking forever ago, but I do remember something like that. Where was I? Oh, I pull a pair of the fuck is that word? I pull a pair of calipers. 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 What the fuck is that? Out of the toolkit. I pull a pair of calipers out of the toolkit I keep in the tunnel and measure the sphere's diameter. It's 4.3 centimeters. From that, I work out the volume, multiply the density of iron, and get a much more precise and accurate mass of 328.25 grams. I was only off by 1%, I grumble. You talk to you? Question. Yes, I'm talking to me. Humans are unusual. Yes, I say. Rocky stretches his legs. I sleep now. Wow, I say. This is the first time he's had to sleep since we met. Good. This will provide me some time for some lab work, but how much time? How long do Iridians sleep? I not know. You don't know? You're Iridian. How can you not know how long Iridians sleep? Iridians not know how long sleep lasts. Maybe short time, maybe long time. They sleep unpredictable amounts of time. I guess there's no rule saying sleep has to evolve as a regular pattern. Does he at least know a range of times it might be? Is there a minimum time, a maximum time? Minimum is 12,265 seconds. Maximum is 42,928 seconds. I often get strangely specific numbers from Rocky on things that should be rough estimates. It took me a while to figure out, but I finally did. He actually is coming up with rough, round numbers, but they're in his units and in base 6. It's actually easier for him to convert those values to base 10 Earth seconds than it is for him to think directly in Earth seconds. If I converted those values back to Iridian seconds and looked at the numbers in base 6, I bet they'd be some round number, but I'm too lazy. Why unconvert data he already converted? I've never seen him be wrong on arithmetic. Arithmetic? Is that how you say it? I hope so. Meanwhile, I have to divide by 60 twice on a calculator to just convert from one of my own planet's units to another of my own planet's units. He'll sleep for a minimum of 3.5 hours and a maximum of almost 12 hours. I understand, I say. I head back toward the airlock. You observe? Question? Rocky asks. He watched me sleep, so it's only fair he offered to let me watch him. I'm sure I'm sure Earth scientists would jump all over the place to learn anything about what an Iridian sleeping looks like. But I finally have time to do some deep analysis of xenonite, and I'm just dying to know how xenon bonds with other elements. If I can get any of my lab equipment to work in 0G, that is. Not necessary. You observe? Question? He asks. No. Observe? You want me to observe you sleep? Yes. Want. Though, through unspoken agreement, a tripled word means extreme emphasis. Why? I sleep better if you observe. Why? He waves a few arms, trying to find a way to phrase it. Iridians do that. Would you say? Sent you a photo on Discord of the tool Grace used. Yeah, let me see what this is. Let me take a look. What is it? Oh! I still don't know how to say the name though. Like, I know what that is, but I don't know how to say it. Calipers? Something like that. I don't freaking know. Anyway, Iridians watch one another sleep. It's a thing. I should be more culturally sensitive, but he threw shade when I talk to myself. Iridians are unusual. Observe. I sleep better. I don't want to watch a dog-sized spider not move for several hours. There's a crew in there, right? Have one of them do it. I point to a ship. Have some other Iridian observe you? No. Oh, no. Why not? I am only Iridian here. My mouth hangs open. You're the only person on that huge ship? He's quiet for a moment, then says, oh, Jesus. Tweet, 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 Jesus. Tweet, 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 tweet. Complete nonsense. Did my clutched together translation software fail? I check it out. No, it's working fine. I examine the waveforms. They seem similar to the ones I'd seen before, but they're lower. Come to think of it, the whole sentence seemed lower in pitch than anything Rocky had ever said before. I select the whole segment in the software recording history and bump it up an octave. The octave is a universal thing, not specific to humans. It means doubling the frequency of every note. The computer immediately The computer immediately translates the result. Original crew was 23. Now is only me. The octave drop. I think it's emotion. Did they die? Yes. I rub my eyes. Wow. The Blip A had a crew of 23. Rocky's the sole survivor, and he's understandably upset about it. What, I stammer. Bad. Bad. I sigh. My original crew was 3. Now it's just me. I put my hand up against the divider. Rocky puts a claw on the divider opposite my hand. Bad. Bad, 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 I say. We stay like that for a moment. I'll watch you sleep. Good. Me sleep, he says. His arms relax, and he looks for all the world like a dead bug. He floats free in his side of the tunnel, no longer hanging on to any support bars. Well, you're not alone anymore, buddy, I say. Neither of us are. Keep tweeting. All right, that was the end of chapter 12. I also just realized that I left it on the expectations page. So we're going to pretend like we were on the chapter 12 page. And now we're going to chapter 13. So that was a long chapter. That was actually a really long chapter. Oh my god. That was a couple pages long. How long is chapter 13? Also a very long chapter. Okay. All right. We're going to go ahead and jump into chapter 13. Oh, it's so sad, though. Like, well, obviously, I watched the movies. So I already knew, like, Rocky was by himself. But, like, reading it, like, I feel like there's just more, like, detail into him, like, explaining it. Like, oh, everyone that was on the ship with me fucking died. And now I'm by myself. And it's like, well, shit, man. Also, I'm trying to finish Dungeon Crawler Carl. Oh, it's so good. You gotta finish it. Hold on. Let me look. Sorry, I got a message from work. Our schedules got all messed up and stuff, so I gotta make sure they're not like suddenly giving me different hours and then I wake up late and I don't realize I'm late. But anyway, chapter 13. Wait, hold on. Before I do that, I'm gonna eat like a couple more pieces of pepperoni, right? Because it's literally sitting next to me and I can smell them and they're just so good. Just a couple more and then I'll continue. So like, chill. Oh my gosh. Just because I start eating them does not mean I want you over here, bug. You can have one. Ow, you bit my finger, you little shit. I still love you, though. Just hoard more of them, yeah. They're really spicy, too. These ones we got, they're miniature pepperoni slices. They're so tiny. Like, really tiny. My doggy. Yeah, my baby ma'am. Yes. Well, to be fair, the pepperoni is really tiny. So he was trying to get the pepperoni, and I basically, like, shoved my fingers in his mouth, so he bit me on accident. Not a hard bite or anything. Like a little nibble. Okay. I'm gonna have a sip of water, and then we continue. That pepperoni is so fucking good. Alright. Let me get the book back open. All right, set it aside. All right. Chapter 13. Here we go. I'm really close to the end, and Carl's on a show with the jerk of an orc-like guy. Oh, I know where you're at. I know where you're at, Skelly. All right, chapter 13. What the fuck? Oh, we're back in the past, apparently. We're in the past now. This chapter's starting in the past. Okay. I was really confused for a minute. I was like, where the fuck are we? Mr. Easton, I don't think we need to be searched, said Strat. I think you do, said the head prison guard. His thick New Zealand accent... What does a New Zealand accent sound like? Sounded friendly, but there was an edge to it. This man had made a whole career out of not putting up with people's crap. Give me a minute. I'm not stroking out. The words are not forming in my mouth the way I want them to form. Okay. Let me try again. We're exempt from all... Stop, Easton said. No one gets in or out of Pear without a full search. Auckland Prison, which the locals called Pear for some reason, was New Zealand's only maximum security prison unit. The sole point of entry was awash with security cameras and a microscanner for all guests. Even the guards passed through the detector on their way in. Easton's assistant and I stood off to the side while our bosses had their dispute. He and I looked at each other and mutually shrugged. A small fraternity of underlings with stubborn bosses. I'm not turning over my taser. I can call your prime minister if you like, Strat said. Sure, said Easton. She'll tell you the same thing I'm about to tell you now. We don't let weapons anywhere near those animals in there. Even my own guards only have batons. There are some rules we don't change. I'm fully aware of your authority, but it has limits. You're not magical. Torch, Easton said, holding out his hand. His assistant handed over a small flashlight. He clicked it on. Please open your mouth wide, Miss Strat. I need to check for contraband. Whoa, boy. I stepped forward before this got any worse. I'll go first. I opened my mouth wide. Damn, Carl, you're just... Sorry. I was going to say something, and I stopped myself before it fully came out. Because I was going to say something... I was going to say something very much not appropriate, so we're just going to move on, okay? Easton shined the light into my mouth and looked this way and that. You're clear. Strat just glared at him. He held the flashlight at the ready. I can get a female guard in here and order a much more thorough search if you like. For a few seconds, she did nothing. Then, she pulled her taser from its holster and handed it over. She must have been tired. I'd never seen her give up on a power trip before. Though I also hadn't seen her get into a useless peeing contest before either. She had a lot of authority and wasn't afraid to flex when needed, but she usually wasn't one to argue when a simple solution was present. I'm not gonna say no. Nah, I don't even remember what it is anymore, actually, so, not moving on. Soon, guards escorted Strat and me through the cold, gray walls of the prison. What the heck is wrong with you? I said. I don't like little dictators and their little kingdom, she said. Drives me crazy. You can bend a little once in a while. I'm out of patience and the world is out of time. I held up a finger. No. You can't just use I'm saving the world as an excuse every time you're a jerk. She thought it over. Yeah, okay. You may have a point. We followed the guards down a long corridor to the maximum security unit. Jesus Christ, what is fucking... Maybe I am stroking out tonight, guys. Maybe I'm just stroking out. Maybe this is the end. Fuck. Maximum security seems like overkill, she said. 7 people died, I reminded her. Because of him. It was accidental. It was criminal negligence. He deserves what he got. The guards led us around a corner. We followed along. The whole place was a maze. Why bring me here at all? Science. As always, I sighed. Can't say I like this. Noted. We entered a stark room containing a single metal table. On one side sat a prisoner in a bright orange jumpsuit, a baldly man in his late 40s, maybe early 50s. He was handcuffed to the table. He didn't look anything like a threat. Strat and I sat down opposite him. The guards closed the door behind us. The man looked at us. He tilted his head slightly, waiting for someone to speak. Dr. Robert Reddle, Strat said. Call me Bob, he said. I'll call you Dr. Reddle. She pulled a file out of her briefcase and looked it over. You're currently serving a life sentence for 7 counts of culpable homicide. That's their excuse for being here, yes, he said. I piped up. 7 people died on your rig, because of your negligence. Seems like a pretty good excuse for you to be here. He shook his head. 7 people died because the control room didn't follow procedure and activated a primary pumping station while workers were still in the reflector tower. It was a horrible accident, but it was an accident. Enlighten us, then, I said. If the deaths at your solar farm weren't your fault, why are you here? Because the government thinks I embezzled millions of dollars. And why do they think that? I asked. Because I embezzled millions of dollars. He adjusted his shackled wrists into a more comfortable position. But that had nothing to do with the deaths. Nothing. Tell me about your black panel power idea, Strat said. Black panel? He drew back. It was just an idea. I emailed that anonymously. Strat rolled her eyes. Do you really think emails sent from a prison computer lab is anonymous? He looked away. I'm not a computer guy. I'm an engineer. I want to hear more about Black Panel, she said. And if I like what I hear, I could reduce your jail time. So start talking. He perked up. Well, okay. What do you want to know about solar thermal power? Strat looked at me. I said, it's when you have a whole bunch of mirrors set up to reflect sunlight to the top of the tower. If you get a few hundred square meters of mirror focusing all that sunlight onto a single point, you can heat up water, make it boil, and run a turbine. I turned to Strat. But that's not new. Heck, there's a fully functional solar thermal power plant in Spain right now. If you want to know about it, talk to them. She silenced me with a hand motion. And that's what you were making for New Zealand. Well, he said, it was funded by New Zealand, but the idea was to provide power for Africa. Why would New Zealand pay a bunch of money to help Africa? I asked. Because we're nice, Reynolds said. Wow, I said. I know New Zealand is pretty cool, but... And it was going to be a New Zealand-owned company that charged for the power, Reynolds said. There it is. He leaned forward. Africa needs infrastructure. To do that... Ugh. Jesus Christ, I'm just tripping over all my words today. To do that, they need power. And they have 9 million square kilometers of useless land that gets some of the most intense, continuous sunlight on Earth. The Sahara Desert is just sitting there, waiting to give them everything they need. All we need to do is build the damn power plants. He flopped back in his chair. But every local government wanted a piece of the pie. Graft, bribes, payoffs, you name it. You think I embezzled a lot? Shit, that's nothing compared to what I had to pay in bribes just to build a solar plant in the middle of a fucking nowhere. And then, Strat said, he looked at his shoes. We built a pilot plant, 1 square kilometer of mirror area. All of it focused on a large metal drum full of water on top of a tower. Boil the water, run a turbine, you know the drill. I had a crew checking the drum for leaks. When anyone's... Oh, hi, Wind! Alright, now that I'm here, can you start over? Hell no, you're gonna have to guess what's happening now. Oh shit, where was I? I had a crew checking the drum for leaks. When everyone's in the tower, the mirrors are supposed to be angled away. But someone in the control room fired up the whole system when they thought they were starting a virtual test. He sighed. Also, thank you for the bits. I just now noticed that as well. I was like, what's moving on the side of my screen? It's the fucking bit symbol. Thank you, Win. Thank you for the bits. I appreciate it. He sighed. 7 people, all dead in an instant. At least... Hi, Cheese. Welcome in. You're late, by the way. Anyway. All dead in an instant. At least they didn't suffer much. Someone had to pay. The victims were all New Zealanders, and so am I. So the government came after me. It was a farce of a trial. And the embezzlement? I said. He nodded. Yeah, that came up in the trial too, but I would have gotten away with it if the project had been successful. I'm not to blame here. I mean, yeah, stealing money, okay, I'm guilty of that. But I didn't kill those people. Not through negligence or any other means. Where were you when the accident happened? Strat said. He paused. Where were you? She repeated. I was in Monaco, on a vacation. You'd been there for 3 months on that vacation, gambling away your embezzled money? I have a gambling problem, he said. I admit that. I mean, it was the gambling debt that made me embezzle in the first place. It's a sickness. And what if you had been doing your job instead of going on a bender for 3 months? What if you'd been there the day the accident happened? Would the accident still have happened? His expression was answer enough. The talk to me is very quiet. Oh, it's because I have... Hold on, I can fix that. There we go. I had the volume turned down low because I had music playing earlier. Anyway, sorry that it was so quiet, jeez. Where was I? Oh, okay, Strat said. Now we're past the excuses and bullshit. You're not going to convince me you're an innocent scapegoat, and now you know that. So let's move on. Tell me about black panels. Yeah, okay. He composed himself. I spent my whole life in the energy sector, so obviously, astrophage is really interesting to me. A storage medium like that, man, if it weren't for what it's doing to the sun, it would be the greatest stroke of luck for humanity in history. He shifted in his seat. Nuclear reactors, coal plants, solar thermal plants. In the end, they all do the same thing. Use heat to boil water, use the steam to drive a turbine. But with astrophage, we don't need any of that crap. It turns heat directly into stored energy. And it doesn't even need a big heat differential. Just anything above 96.415 degrees. I don't know. Hi, Lemus. You're late. You're late as hell, Lemus. So is Cheese. Would you guys, come from a party together or something? Why y'all so late? The fuck? Anyway. We know that, I said. I've been using a nuclear reactor's heat to breed up astrophage for the last several months. What'd you get? Maybe a few grams? My idea can get you 1,000 kilograms per day. In a few years, you'll have enough for the whole Hail Mary mission. It'll take you longer than that to build the ship anyway. All right.
You have my attention, I said. Of course, Strad hadn't told me anything about whatever black panel was. Get a square of metal foil. Pretty much any metal will do. Anodize it until it's black. Don't paint it. Anodize it. Put clear glass over it and leave a 1 centimeter gap between the glass and the foil. Seal the edges with brick, foam, or some other good insulator. Then set it out in the sun. Okay, what good will that do? The black foil will absorb sunlight and get hot. The glass will insulate it from outside air. Any heat loss has to pass through the glass, and that's slow. It'll reach an equilibrium temperature well over 100 degrees Celsius.
I was eating, then took a massive shit, had milk. Oh my god, no, hold on, let me pause. Let me pause real quick. Let me tell you a funny story. So today, I went back with the older kids for a bit. And one of them, he's a really funny kid. He, like, jokes a lot. He every time he sees me, he's like, "Hi, Miss Pocket." He's sweet, too. Well, I was back there, and he came up to me. Oh god, what was the conversation? We were doing, like, cleanup time, and I was like, "Hey, dude, if you help clean, you can get something, you can get, like, a free snack." And he was like, "Oh, Miss Pocket, I can't eat anything right now." And I was like, "What do you mean you can't eat anything right now?" And he's like, "I have a parasite." And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "I have a parasite, Miss Pocket." And I was like, "No, you don't. Like, you're joking." And he was like, "No, I've got the lettuce parasite." And I was like, "You do not have the parasite. You wouldn't be here if you had the lettuce parasite." And he looked at me and he's like, "Well, I've been dropping Hershey's every time I eat, so obviously I have the parasite, Miss Pocket." And I was like, "Oh my god, get out of my face right now." And I just thought that was actually hilarious because the way he said it, was just really funny. But anyway, where was I? I nod. And at that temperature, you can enrich astrophage. Yes, but it would be ridiculously slow, I said. If you had a 1 square meter box in ideal weather conditions, say 1,000 watts per square meter of solar energy, it's about half a microgram per day, he said, give or take. That's a far cry from 1,000 kilograms per day. He smiled. It's just a matter of how many square meters you make of it. You need 2 trillion square meters to get 1,000 kilograms per day. The Sahara Desert is 9 trillion square meters. My jaw dropped open. That went by fast, said Strat. Explain. Well, I said, he wants to pave a chunk of the Sahara Desert with black panels, like a quarter of the entire Sahara Desert. It'd be the biggest thing ever made by humanity, he said. It'd be starkly visible from space. I glared at him. And it would destroy the ecology of Africa and probably Europe. Not as much as the coming Ice Age will. Strat held up her hand. Dr. Grace, would it work? I fidgeted. Well, I mean, it's a sound concept, but I don't know if it's even possible to implement. This isn't like making a building or a road. We're talking about literally trillions of these things. Rettel leaned in. That's why I designed the black panels to be made entirely out of foil, glass, and ceramics. All materials will have plenty of here on Earth. Wait, I said, how do the astrophage breed in this scenario? Your black panels will enrich them, sure, and they'll be breed ready, but there are a bunch of steps they need to go through when they breed. Oh, I know, he smirked. We'll have a static magnet in here to keep them. Oh my God, Jesus. Oh, I know, he smirked. We'll have a static magnet in there why do I keep wanting to say keep? And there's to give them a magnetic field to follow. They need that to kick off their migration response. Then we'll have a small IR filter on one part of the glass. It'll only let the CO2 IR spectral signature wavelengths through. The astrophage will go there to breed. Then, after dividing, they'll head toward the glass because that's the direction of the sun. We'll have a small pinhole somewhere in the middle of the panel for air exchange with the outside. It'll be slow enough that it doesn't cool down the panel, but fast enough to replenish the CO2 used by astrophage while breeding. I opened my mouth to protest, but I couldn't find anything wrong with it. He thought it all through. Well, said Strat. As a breeder system, it's horrible, I said. Way less efficient and far lower yield than my system on the carrier's reactor. But he didn't design it for efficiency. He designed it for scalability. That's right, he said. He pointed to Strat. Oh my God, I'm just stroking, guys. I just can't read tonight. Listen. Okay. Or was I? I hear you have godlike authority over pretty much the whole world right now. That's an exaggeration, she said. Not much of one, though.
I said. Rattle continued. Can you get China to orient their industrial base around making black panels? Not just them, but pretty much every industrial nation on Earth? That's what it would take. She pursed her lips. After a moment, she said, yes. And can you tell the goddamn corrupt government officials in North Africa to stay out of the way? That part will be easy, she said. When this is all over, those governments will keep the black panels. They'll be the industrial energy powerhouse of the world. See, there we go, he said. Save the world and permanently lift Africa out of poverty while we're at it. Of course, this is all just a theory. I have to develop the black panel and make sure we can mass produce it. I need to be in a lab instead of prison. Strat molded over. Then she stood. Okay, you're with us. He pumped his fist. Oh, we've got a gambler with us now. Oh my god, guys, that's crazy. Gambling. Ugh. Anyway, time skip. Oh, we're back in the present. I wake up in my bed, which is mounted to the tunnel wall. That first night was a kludge with duct tape. Since then, I learned that epoxy glue works well on xenonite, so I was able to attach a couple of anchor points and mount the mattress properly. Pocket, don't relapse. You already spent 500. I know. I was like, what are you talking about? And now I remember what you mean. Oh, my God. Where was I? Oh, I sleep in the tunnel every night now, Rocky insists. And once every 86 hours or so, Rocky sleeps in the tunnel and wants me to watch. Well, he's only slept 3 times so far, so my data on his waking period is a bit sparse. But he's been kind of consistent on it. I stretch out my arms and yawn. Good morning, Rocky says. It's pitch dark. I turn on the lamp mounted next to the bed. Rocky has an entire workshop set up on his side of the tunnel. He's always making modifications or repairs to something or other. Seems like his ship is constantly in need of repair. Right this moment, he holds an oblong metal device with 2 of his hands. What? He holds an oblong metal device with 2 of his hands and uses another 2 to poke at the innards with needle-like tools. The remaining hand grasps the handle on the wall. Mornin', I say. I'm going to eat. I'll be back. Rocky waves absently. Eat. I float down to the dormitory for my morning ritual. I eat a pre-packaged breakfast, scrambled eggs with pork sausage, and a bag of hot coffee. It's been a few days since I last cleaned up, and I can smell my own body odor. Not a good sign. So I sponge off at the sponge bath station and get a clean jumpsuit. All this technology, and I haven't seen any means of cleaning clothing. So I've taken to soaking it in water and putting it in the lab freezer for a while. Kills off all the germs, and those are what cause the smell. Fresh, not clean clothes. I pull the jumpsuit on. I've decided today is the day. After a week of honing our language skills, Rocky and I are ready to start having real conversations. I can even understand him without having to look at the translator about a third of the time now. I float back to the tunnel, sipping the last of my coffee. Okay, finally, I think we have the words needed for this discussion. Here goes. I clear my throat. Rocky, I'm here because astrophage makes Soul sick, but doesn't make Talsetti sick. Are you here for the same reason? Rocky puts the device and his tools on his bandolier. What is a bandolier? Bandolier. What the fuck is that? And climbs along the support rails to the divider. Good. He understands this is a serious conversation. Yes. No understand why Tau not sick, but Eridani is sick. If astrophage no leave Eridani, my people die. Same, I say. Same. If astrophage continues to infect Soul, all the humans will die. Good. Same. You and me will save Eridani and Soul. Yes. Why did other humans on ship die? Question. Rocky asks. Oh, so we're going to talk about that? I rub the back of my head. We slept all the way here. Not a normal sleep. A special sleep. A dangerous sleep. But necessary. My crewmates died, but I didn't. Random luck. Bad, he says. Bad. Why did the other Iridians die? I not know. Everyone gets sick. Then everyone die. His voice quavers. I not sick. I not know why. Bad, I say with a sigh. What kind of sick? He thinks for a moment. I need word. Small life, single thing, like astrophage. Iridian's body made of many, many of these. Cell, I say. My body is many, many cells also. He says the Iridian word for cell, and I add the tones to my ever-growing dictionary. Cell, he says. My crew have problem with cells. Many, many cells die. Not infection, not injury, no reason. But not me, never me. Why, question. I not know. Each individual cell in the affected Iridians died? That sounds horrible. It also sounds like radiation sickness. How am I going to describe that? I shouldn't have to. If they're spacefaring people, they should already understand radiation. We don't have a word for it between us yet, though. Let's work on that. I need a word. Fast-moving hydrogen atoms. Very fast. Hot gas. No, faster than that. Very, very, very fast. He wriggles his carapace. He's confused. I try another approach. Space has very, very, very fast hydrogen atoms. They move almost the speed of light. They created by stars long, long, long time ago. No mass in space. Space is empty. Oh boy. No, that's wrong. There are hydrogen atoms in space. Very, very fast hydrogen atoms. Understand. You didn't know that? No. I stare in shock. How can a civilization develop space travel without ever discovering radiation? And now we're back in the past. It's a time skip. Dr. Grace, she said. Dr. Loken, I said. We sat across from each other at a small steel table. It was a tiny room, but spacious by aircraft carrier standards. I didn't quite understand its original purpose, and its name was written in Chinese characters. But I think it was a place for the navigator to look at charts. Thank you for making time to see me, she said. Not a problem. As a rule, we tried to avoid each other. Our relationship had matured from annoyed with each other to very annoyed with each other. I was as much a part of the problem as she was, but we got off on the wrong foot all those months ago back in Geneva and never really improved. Of course, I don't think this is necessary. Neither do I said. But Strad insisted you run the stuff by me, so here we are. I have an idea, but I want your opinion. She pulled out a file and handed it to me. CERN is going to release his paper next week. This is a rough draft, but I know everyone here, so they let me see an advance copy. I opened the folder. Okay, what's it about? They figured out how astrophage stores energy. Really? I gasped. Then I cleared my throat. Really? Yes, and frankly, it's amazing. She pointed to a graph on the first page. Long story short, it's... Jesus, what is that word? Neutrinos. It's neutrinos. Neutrinos? I shook my head. How the heck? I know. It's very counterintuitive. But there's a large neutrino burst every time they kill an astrophage. They even took samples to the Ice Cube Neutrino Observatory and punctured them in the main detector pool. They got a massive number of hits. Astrophage can only contain neutrinos if it's alive, and there's a lot of them in there. How does it make neutrinos? She flipped a few pages in the paper and pointed to another chart. This is more your area than mine, but microbiologists have confirmed astrophage has a lot of free hydrogen ions, raw protons with no electrons, zipping around just inside the cell membrane. Yeah, I remember reading about that. It was a group in Russia that found that out. She nodded. CERN is pretty much sure that, through a mechanism we don't understand, when those protons collide at a high enough velocity, their kinetic energy is converted into two neutrinos with opposite momentum vectors. I leaned back confused. That is really odd. Mass usually doesn't just happen like that. She wiggled her hand. Not quite true. Sometimes gamma rays, when they pass close to an atomic nucleus, will spontaneously become an electron and positron. It's called pair production, so it's not unheard of, but we've never seen neutrinos created that way. That's kind of neat. I never got too deep into atomic physics. I've never heard of pair production before. It's a thing. Okay. Anyway, she said, there's a lot of complicated stuff about neutrinos I won't get into. There are different kinds, and they can even change what kind they are. But the upshot is this. They're an extremely small particle. Their mass is something like 1/20 billionth the mass of a proton. Wait, I said. We know astrophage is always 96.415 degrees Celsius. Temperature is just the velocity of particles inside. So we should be able to calculate the velocity of the particles inside, she said. Yes. We know the average velocity. Just so much science talk. When I get to parts like I like this book, but when I get to parts like this, I kind of like start zoning out like as I'm reading and just let the words like go in my eyes and out my mouth, you know? Anyway, we know the average velocity of the protons, and we know their mass, which means we know their kinetic energy. I know where you're going with this, and the answer is yes. It balances. Wow. I put my hand on my forehead. That's amazing. Yes, it is. That was the answer to the long-asked question. Why is astrophage's critical temperature what it is? Why not hotter? Why not colder? Astrophage makes neutrinos in pairs by slamming protons together. For the reaction to work, the protons need to collide with a higher kinetic energy than the mass energy of two neutrinos. If you work backward from the mass of a neutrino, you know the velocity those protons have to collide at. And when you know the velocity of particles in an object, you know its temperature. To have enough kinetic energy to make neutrinos, the protons have to be 96.415 degrees Celsius. That was a mouthful, Jesus. Oh man, I said. So any heat energy above the critical temperature will just make the protons collide harder? Yes. They'll make neutrinos and have leftover energy. Then they bump into other protons, etc. Any heat energy above the critical temperature gets quickly converted into neutrinos. But if it drops below critical temperature, the protons are going too slow and neutrino production stops. In result, you can't get it hotter than 96.415 degrees. Not for long, anyway. And if it gets too cold, the astrophages use stored energy to heat back up that temperature, just like any other warm-blooded life form. What's up, Odd? Ayo, Pocket, wait, blah, blah. What's up, Odd? Welcome in. We're reading Project Hail Mary, still. for like the 100th time, you know? She gave me a moment to let that all sink in. CERN really came through, but a couple of things still bothered me. Okay, so it makes neutrinos, I said. How does it turn them back into energy? That's the easy part, she said. Neutrinos are what's called, Jesus, Majorana particles. It means the neutrino in its own, is its own antiparticle. Basically, every time two neutrinos collide, it's a matter-antimatter interaction. They annihilate and become photons. Two photons, actually, with the same wavelength and going opposite directions. And since the wavelength of a photon is based on the energy in the photon... The Petrova wavelength, I yelped. She nodded. Yes. The mass energy of a neutrino is exactly the same as the energy found in one photon of Petrova wavelength light. This paper is truly groundbreaking. I rested my chin on my hands. Wow. Just wow. I guess the only remaining question is how does an astrophage keep neutrinos inside? We don't know. Neutrinos routinely pass through the entire planet Earth without hitting a single atom. They're just that small. Well, it's more about quantum wavelengths and probabilities of collision, but suffice it to say, neutrinos are famously hard to interact with. But for some reason, astrophage has what we call super cross-sectionality. That's just a fancy term meaning nothing can quantum tunnel through it. It goes against every law of particle physics we thought we knew, but it's been proven over and over. Yeah, I tapped my finger on the table. It absorbs all wavelengths of light, even wavelengths that should be too large to interact with it. Yes, she said. Turns out it also collides with all matter that tries to get by, no matter how unlikely that collision should be. Anyway, as long as an astrophage is alive, it exhibits the super cross-sectionality, and that brings us nicely to what I wanted to talk to you about. Oh, I said, there's more? Yes. She pulled a diagram of the Hail Mary hole out of her bag. That is what I need you for. I'm working on radiation protection for the Hail Mary. I perked up. Of course. Astrophage will block it all. Maybe, she said, but I need to know how space radiation works to be sure. I know the broad strokes, but not the details. Please enlighten me. I folded my arms. Well, there's two kinds, really. High-energy particles emitted by the sun, and GCRs, that are just kind of everywhere. Start with the solar particles, she said. Sure. Solar particles are just hydrogen atoms emitted by the sun. Sometimes a magnetic storm on the sun can cause it to spit out a whole bunch of them. Other times it's relatively quiet. And lately, the astrophage infection has been robbing so much energy from the sun that magnetic storms are less common. Horrifying, she said. I know. Did you hear that global warming has been almost undone? She nodded. Humanity's recklessness with our environment accidentally brought us an extra month of time by preheating the planet. We fell in poop and came out smelling like roses, I said. She laughed. I have not heard that one. We don't have that expression in Norwegian. You do now, I smiled. She looked down at the whole plan. A little faster than I think was necessary, but whatever. How fast do these solar particles travel? She asked. About 400 kilometers per second. Good. We can ignore them. She scribbled a note to herself on the paper. The Hail Mary will be going away faster than that within 8 hours. They won't be able to catch up, let alone do any damage. I whistled. It's really amazing that we're doing what we're doing. I mean, geez. Astrophage will be the best thing ever if it weren't, destroying the sun. I know, she said. Now tell me about GCRs. Those are trickier, I said. It stands for Galactic Cosmic Rays, she said. That's a cool-ass fucking name. Galactic Cosmic Rays. Sounds like a band name. She said. And they're not cosmic rays, right? Right. They're just hydrogen ions, protons. But they're going a lot faster. They're going near the speed of light. Why are they called cosmic rays if they're not even electromagnetic emissions? People used to think they were. The name stuck. Do they come from some common source? No, they're omnidirectional. They're made by supernovas, which have happened all over the place. We're just kind of constantly awash with GCRs in all directions, and they're a huge problem for space travel. But not anymore. I leaned forward to look at her schematic again. It was a cross-section of a hole. There was a 1 millimeter void between two walls. Are you going to fill that area with astrophage? That's the plan. I pondered the schematic. You want to fill the hole with fuel. Isn't that dangerous? Only if we let it see CO2 band light. If it doesn't see CO2, it won't do anything, and it'll be in the dark between the holes. Dimitri plans to make a fuel slurry out of astrophage and low-viscosity oil to make it easier to transport to the engines. I want to line the hole with that stuff. I pinched my chin. It could work, but astrophage can die from physical trauma. You can kill one by poking it with a sharp nanostick. Yes, that's why I asked CERN to do some off-the-books experiments for me as a favor. Wow. CERN will just do whatever you want? Are you like mini-strat or something? She chuckled. Old friends and contacts. Anyway, they found that even particles moving their light speed can't get past astrophage, and none of them seem to kill it either. That actually makes a lot of sense, I said. It evolved to live on the surface of stars. They must get bombarded by energy and very fast-moving particles all the time. She pointed to a zoomed-in schematic of astrophage canals. The entire radiation load will be halted. All we need is a layer of astrophage slurry thick enough to guarantee there's always an astrophage cell in the way of any incoming particles. 1 millimeter should be more than enough. Plus, we don't waste any mass. We'll be using the fuel itself as insulation. And if the crew need that last little bit of astrophage, well, consider it a reserve. A reserve. That could power New York City for 20,000 years. A reserve that could power New York City for 20,000 years. She looked at the diagram, then back to me. You did all that math in your head? I had some shortcuts. We're dealing with such absurd scales of energy here. I tend to think in New York City years of energy, which is about 1/2 in 1 gram of astrophage. She rubbed her temples. And we need to make 2 million kilograms of it. If we make a mistake along the way, we'll save astrophage the trouble of destroying humanity by doing it ourselves, I say. Yeah, I think about that a lot. So what do you think, she said. Is this a terrible idea, or could it work? I think it's genius. She smiled and looked away. Bitch, stop flirting with our man. The fuck? Get your hoe ass out of here. Smiling and looking away. Fuck you. Sorry, that was really aggressive. Anyway, that was the end of chapter 13. What's our time right now? Ooh. We're at 1 hour 25. Let's see, how long is chapter 14? Ooh, this one's also very long. Oh, this one's actually very long. Jesus Christ. Oh my god. Ooh, see, I've been stopping like the reading streams at like an hour and 30 recently because I hate having to stop in the middle of a chapter when we reach our 2 hours. Because if I start reading chapter 14, we're gonna end up having to stop in the middle of the chapter, you know? Ugh. But also, I want to keep reading because I think we're gonna be getting back to Rocky soon, and I just want to see Rocky again, okay? But also, getting 3 chapters done might be good. But this is a thick chapter. How many pages? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 18 pages. 18 fucking pages. Oof. We would definitely have to stop in the middle of it. And I don't know, man. Should we keep reading? Should we keep reading it till we reach our 2 hours, or should we just stop here? Because I feel like it's safe to stop at 14. That way we know, like, where we left off at. Yes, don't bail. Flip a coin. Oh, I should flip a coin. Huh? Actually, I wonder if I have that feature. Hold on. Let me double check. One minute. Let me put my bookmark in. I think I have a flip a coin thing. We'll see. Oh, shit. No, that didn't work. Oh, wait, can I do that? No. Well, shit. Okay, well, can I do... Oh, I can do a poll. Oh, there we go. Haha. I've got it. We'll do 1 minute. Okay, start poll. There we go. I did it. Vote on my fucking poll, bitches. Okay, well, all of you are probably just gonna vote yes. We'll give it a full minute. While I'm waiting, I'm gonna eat some pepperonis. Damn, these pepperonis are seriously so good, though. Oh, you heard me pull out the pepperoni, so you came over to beg for some. Damn, they're good. Where's yours? At your mom's house, actually. Here, go, bug. These are spicy pepperonis, too. They're good. They always do, yes. You're so right about that. Okay, thank you, Law. Found them. See, I thought about you this time, Lemus. I thought about you. Left you some. Okay, well, yes, one. Nearly missed the vote because of the delay. I don't know. Alright, we'll continue reading. And then when we get to 2 hours, we'll just stop where we are. If it's in the middle of the chapter, it's in the middle of the chapter. If not, well, then it's not. But I have a feeling it's going to be in the middle of the chapter. But that's okay. All right. We're going to continue to chapter... We're in chapter 14 already. Okay. Chapter 14. Another day, another staff meeting. Who would have thought saving the world could be so boring? The science team sat around the meeting room table. Me, Dimitri, and Loken. For all her talk about cutting out bureaucracy... The fuck? Okay. For all her talk about cutting out bureaucracy, Strat ended up with a bunch of de facto department heads and daily staff meetings. Sometimes the stuff we all hate ends up being the only way to do things. Strat sat at the head of the table, of course, and next to her was a man I'd never seen before. Everyone, Strat said, I want you to meet Dr. Francois Leclerc? Leclerc? The Frenchman to her left. Jesus, I'm like, my eyes are crossing. The Frenchman to her left waved half-heartedly. Hello. Leclerc. Leclerc. Jesus Christ, his name is going to make me stroke out. Leclerc is a world-renowned climatologist from Paris. I put him in charge of tracking, understanding, and, if possible, what the fuck is that word? Ameliorating the climate effects of astrophage. Oh, is that all? I said. Leclerc smiled, but it faded quickly. So, Dr. Leclerc. Jesus, he just insulted him. Christ, Grace. So, Dr. Leclerc, Strat said, we've been getting a lot of conflicting reports on exactly what to expect from the reduction of solar energy. It's hard to find any two climatologists who agree. He shrugged. It's hard to find two climatologists who agree on the color of an orange. It is, unfortunately, an inexact field. There's a lot of uncertainty and, if I'm being honest, a lot of guesswork. Climate science is in its infancy. You're not giving yourself enough credit. Out of all the experts, you're the only one I could find whose climate predictions models were proven true over and over again for the last 20 years. He nodded. She gestured to a disorderly mass of papers on the meeting table. I've been sent every kind of prediction from minor crop failures to global biosphere collapse. I want to hear what you have to say. You've seen the predicted solar output numbers. What's your take? Disaster, of course, he said. We're looking at extinction of many species, complete upheaval of biomes all over the world, major changes in weather patterns. Humans, Strat said. I want to know how this affects humans, and when. I don't care about the mating grounds of the three amused mud sloth or any other random biome. We're part of the ecology, Miss Strat. We're not outside it. The plants we eat, the animals we ranch, the air we breathe, it's all part of the tapestry. It's all connected. As the biomes collapse, it'll have a direct impact on humanity. Okay, then, numbers, Strat said. I want numbers, tangible things, not vague predictions. He scowled at her. Okay, 19 years. 19 years? You wanted a number, he said. There's a number. 19 years. Okay, what's 19 years? That's my estimate for when half the people currently alive will be dead. 19 years from now. The silence that followed was like anything I'd ever experienced. Even Strat was taken aback. Loken and I looked to each other. I don't know why, but we did. They're trying to set up a romance between the two, and I'm just not a fan of it. I just don't want to hear. I don't want to. No, stop. Grace doesn't need a girlfriend, okay? He does not, all right? He can be a single boy, all right? I don't know why, but we did. Dimitri's mouth fell agape. Half? Strat said. 3.5 billion people? Dead? Yes, he said. Is that tangible enough for you? How can you possibly know that? She said. He pursed his lips. And just like that, another climate denier is born. See how easy it is? All I have to do is tell you something you don't want to hear. Don't patronize me, Dr. Leclerc. Just answer my questions. He crossed his arms. We're already seeing major weather pattern disruptions. Loken cleared her throat. I heard there were tornadoes in Europe? Yes, he said. And they're happening more and more often. European languages didn't even have a word for tornado until Spanish conquistadors saw them in North America. Now they're happening in Italy, Spain, and Greece.
Wait, is that true? Does Europe, not get tornadoes?
Wait, no, I need to look that up now because... Hold on, I need to look that up.
Because that would be so crazy. Hold on. Does Europe not get tornadoes?
Hold on.
Does Europe get tornadoes?
Okay, they don't form as frequently. Okay, so they do get them, but they don't form as frequently as they do here.
Okay. Are you just upset that you can't be with Grace? Question. Screw you, actually.
I'm not answering that question. Denied. Moving on.
Where was I? Anyway. He tilted his head. Partially, it's because of shifting weather patterns, and partially it's because some lunatic decided to pave the Sahara Desert with black rectangles, as if a massive disruption of heat distribution near the Mediterranean Sea wouldn't have any effects. Strat rolled her eyes.
I knew there'd be weather effects. We just don't have any other choice. He pressed on. Your abuse of the Sahara aside, we're seeing bizarre phenomena all over the world. The cyclone season is off by 2 months. It snowed in Vietnam last week. The jet stream is a convoluted mess changing day by day. Arctic air is being brought to places it's never been before, and tropical air is going well north and south. It's a maelstrom. Get back to the 3.5 billion dead people, Strat said. Sure, he said. The math of famine is actually pretty easy. Take all the calories the world creates with farming and agriculture per day, and divide by about 1,500. The human population cannot be greater than that number. Not for long, anyway. America is a crazy place with tons of climate events. That is so true. Yes, I know. He fiddled with a pen on the table. I've run the best models I have. Crops are going to fail. The global staple crops are wheat, barley, millet, potatoes, soy, and most important, rice. All of them are pretty sensitive about temperature ranges. If your rice paddy freezes over, the rice dies. If your potato farm floods, the potatoes die. And if your wheat farm experiences 10 times normal humidity, it gets fungal parasites and dies. He looked at Strat again. If only we had a stable supply of three anused mud sloths, maybe we'd survive. He's being real petty with her. Strat pinched her chin. 19 years isn't enough time. It'll take 13 years for the Hail Mary to get to Tau Ceti, and another 13 for any results or data to come back. We need at least 26 years. 27 would be better. He looked at her as if she'd grown another head. What are you saying? This isn't some optional outcome. This is happening, and there's nothing we can do about it. Nonsense, she said. Humanity has been accidentally causing global warming for a century. Let's see what we can do when we really set our minds to it. He drew back. What, are you kidding? A nice blanket of greenhouse gases would buy us some time, right? It would insulate Earth like a parka and make the energy we are getting last longer. Am I wrong? What? He stammered. You aren't wrong, but the scale and the morality of deliberately causing greenhouse gas emissions? I don't care about morality, Strat said. She really doesn't, I said. I care about saving humanity. So give me some greenhouse effect. You're a climatologist. Come up with something to make us last at least 27 years. I'm not willing to lose half of humanity. Leckler gulped. She made a shooing motion. Get to work. Damn, she's creating her fucking group of slaves. Fucking damn. Honestly, Strat's a badass bitch. I can't be too mad at her. Like, anyway. Oh, now we're back to the present with Rocky. It takes 3 hours and the addition of 50 words to our shared vocabulary, but I am finally able to explain radiation and its effects on biology to Rocky. Think, he says in unusually low tones. Sad tones. Now I know how my friends died. Bad, 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 I say. Yes, he chimes. During the conversation, I learned the Blip A has no radiation protection at all, and I know why Iridians never discovered radiation. It took a while to assemble all of this information, but here is what I know. The Iridian homeworld is the first planet in the 40 Eridani system. Humans actually spotted it a while ago. Obviously not knowing there was a whole civilization there. The catalog name for it is 40 Eridani, AB. That's a mouthful. The planet's actual name, from the Iridians, is a collection of chords like any other Iridian word, so I'll just call it Arid. Arid is extremely close to its star, about 1/5 as far as Earth is from our sun. Their year is a little over 42 Earth days long. It's what we call a super-Earth, weighing in at 8.5 times Earth's mass. It's about twice Earth's diameter and a little over double the surface gravity. Also, it spins very fast. Absurdly fast. Their day is only 5.1 hours long. That's when things start to fall into place. Planets get magnetic fields if the conditions are right. You have to have a molten iron core, you have to be in the magnetic field of a star, and you have to be spinning. If all three of these things are true, you get a magnetic field. Earth has one. That's why compasses work. Arid has all of those features on steroids. They are larger than Earth, with a larger iron core. They are close to their star, so they have a much stronger magnetic field powering their own field, and they spin extremely fast. All told, Arid's magnetic field is at least 25 times as strong as Earth's. Plus, their atmosphere is extremely thick, 29 times as thick. You know what strong magnetic fields and thick atmospheres are really good at? Radiation protection. All life on Earth evolved to deal with radiation. Our DNA has error correction built in because we're constantly bombarded with radiation from the sun and from space in general. Our magnetic field and atmosphere protect us somewhat, but not 100%. For Arid, it's 100%. Radiation just doesn't get to the ground. Light doesn't even get to the ground. That's why they never evolved eyes. The surface is pitch dark. How does a biosphere exist in total darkness? I haven't asked Rocky how that works yet, but there is plenty of life deep in Earth's oceans where the sun doesn't shine, so it's definitely doable. Iridians are extremely susceptible to radiation, and they never even knew it existed. The next conversation took another hour and added a few dozen more words to the vocabulary. Iridians invented space travel quite a while ago, and with their unparalleled material technology, xenonite, they actually made a space elevator. Basically, a cable leading from Arid's equator up to this synchronous orbit with a counterweight. They literally take elevators to get into orbit. We could do that on Earth. We could do that on Earth if we knew how to make xenonite. Thing is, they never left orbit. There was no reason to. Arid had no moon. Planets that close to a star rarely do. The gravitation tidal forces tend to rip would-be moons out of orbit. Rocky and his crew were the first Iridians to leave orbit at all. So they never found out that Arid's magnetic field, which extends well beyond its synchronous orbit, had been protecting them all that time. One mystery remained. "Why did I not die?" Rocky asks. "I don't know," I say. "What's different? What do you do that the rest of your crew didn't do?" "I fix things. My job is to repair broken things, create needed things, and keep engines running." Sounds like an engineer to me. Where were you most of the time? "I have room and ship. Workshop." I'm getting an idea. Where's the workshop? In back of I said shit. In back of ship, near engines. That's a sensible place to put your ship's engineer, near the engines, where things are most likely to need maintenance or repair. Where does your ship store astrophage fuel? He waves a hand generally around the rear of the ship. Many, many containers of astrophage, all in back of ship, close to engines, easy to refuel. And there's the answer. I sigh. He's not going to like this. The solution was so simple. They just didn't know it. They didn't even know the problem until it was too late. Astrophage stops radiation, I say. You were surrounded by astrophage most of the time. Your crewmates weren't. So the radiation got to them. He doesn't respond. He needs a moment to let that sink in. "Understand," he says in low tones. "Think. I now know why I not die." I tried to imagine the desperation of his people. With a space program far behind Earth's, no knowledge of what's outside, and still making an interstellar ship in a bid to save their race. No different from my situation, I guess. I just have a little more technology. "Radiation is here too," I say. "Stay in your workshop as much as you can." "Yes." "Bring astrophage to this tunnel and put it on the wall." "Yes, you do same." "I don't need to." "Why not?" "Because it doesn't matter if I get cancer. I'm going to die here anyway. But I don't want to explain that I'm on a suicide mission right now. The conversation's been pretty heavy already, so I'll tell him a half-truth. Earth's atmosphere is thin, and our magnetic field is weak. Radiation gets to the surface, so Earth life evolved to survive radiation. "Understand," he says. He continues working on his repairs while I float in the tunnel. A random thought occurs to me. "Hey, I have a question." "Ask." "Why is Iridian science and human science so similar? Billions of years, but almost the same progress. It's been bugging me for a while. Humans and Iridians evolved separately in separate star systems. We had no contact with each other until now. So why is it that we have almost identical technology? I mean, Iridians are a little behind us in space technology, but not a ton. Why aren't they in their Stone Age? Or some super futuristic age that makes modern Earth look antiquated?" "Has to be, or you and I would not meet," Rocky says. "If planet has less science, it can make spaceship. If planet has more science, it can understand and destroy astrophage without leaving their system. Iridian and human science both in special range. Can make shit, but can't solve astrophage problem. Huh. I hadn't thought of that. But it's obvious now that Rocky says it. If this happened when Earth was in the Stone Age, we would have just died. And if it happened 1,000 years from now, we'd probably work out how to deal with astrophage without breaking a sweat. There's a fairly narrow band of technological advancement that would cause a species to send a ship to Talseti to look for answers. Iridians and humans both fall into that band. Understand. Good observation. But it nags at me. Still unusual. Humans and Iridians are close in space. Earth and Erd are only 16 light-years apart. The galaxy is 100,000 light-years wide. Life must be rare. But we are so close together. Possible we are family. We're related? How could... Oh, you mean... Whoa. I have to wrap my head around this one. I'm not certain. Theory. It's a darn good theory, I say. Oh, Jesus. The panspermia theory. I argued with Loken about it all the time. Earth life and astrophage are way too similar for it to be coincidence. I suspect Earth was seeded by some ancestor of astrophage, some interstellar progenitor species that infected my planet. But it never occurred to me until now that the same thing might have happened to Arid. There could be life all over the place. Anywhere it can possibly evolve from an astrophage-like ancestor into the cells I have today. I don't have what this pre-astrophage organism would be like, but astrophage is pretty darn tough. So any planet that can possibly support life of any kind would be likely to get it. Rocky might be a long-lost relative. Very long. The trees outside my house back home are closer relatives to me than Rocky, but still. Wow. Very good theory, I say again. Think, Rocky says. I guess he'd worked that all out a while ago, but I still had to let it sink in. For once, now we're back in the past. For once, an aircraft carrier was the perfect place to be. The Chinese Navy didn't even question Strat's orders anymore. The Harrips got sick of approving every action and finally just issued a general order to do whatever she said, as long as it didn't involve firing weapons. We anchored off the coast of western Antarctica in the dead of night. The coastline sat in the extreme distance, visible only by moonlight. The entire continent had been evacuated of humans. Probably an overreaction. The Amundsen Scott South Pole Station was 1,500 kilometers away. The people there would have been just fine. Still, no reason to take chances. It was the largest naval exclusion zone in history. So big, even the U.S. Navy had to stretch itself thin to make sure no commercial ships entered the area. Strat spoke into a walkie-talkie. Destroyer 1, confirm observation status. Ready, came an American accent. Destroyer 2, confirm observation status. Ready, came a different American's voice. The scientific team stood together on the carrier's flight deck, staring toward land. Dimitri and Loken hung back away from the edge. Redel was off in Africa running the Black Panel farm. And of course, Strat stood slightly ahead of everyone else. Leclerc looked for all the world like a man being led to the gallows. We're almost ready, he said with a sigh. Sorry, I was itching something on my arm. Where was I? Oh, we're almost ready, he said with a sigh. Strat clicked on her walkie-talkie again. Submarine 1, confirm observation status. Ready, came the response. Leclerc checked his tablet. 3 minutes. Mark. All ships, we are at condition yellow, Strat said into her radio. Repeat. Condition yellow, submarine 2, confirm observation status. Ready. I stood next to Leclerc. This is unbelievable, I said. He shook his head. I wish to God this wasn't on my shoulders. He fiddled with his tablet. You know, Dr. Grace, I've spent my entire life as an unapologetic hippie. From my childhood in Lyon to my university days in Paris. I'm a tree-hugging anti-war throwback to a bygone era of protest politics. I didn't say anything. He was having the worst day of his life. If I could help by just listening, I'd do it. I became a climatologist to help save the world, to stop the nightmarish environmental catastrophe we were sinking ourselves into. And now, this. It's necessary, but horrible. As a scientist yourself, I'm sure you understand. Not really, I said. I spent my whole scientific career looking away from Earth, not toward it. I'm embarrassingly weak on climate science. He said. Western Antarctica is a roiling mass of ice and snow. The whole region is a giant glacier, slowly marching into the sea. There are hundreds of thousands of square kilometers of ice here. And we're going to melt it? The sea will melt it for us. But yes, thing is, Antarctica used to be a jungle. For millions of years it was as lush as Africa. But continental drift and natural climate change froze it over. All those plants died and decomposed. The gases from that decomposition, most notably methane, got trapped in the ice. And methane's a pretty powerful greenhouse gas, I said. He nodded. Far more powerful than carbon dioxide. He checked his tablet again. 2 minutes, he called out. All ships, condition red, Strat radioed. Repeat, condition red. He turned back to me. So here I am, environmental activist, climatologist, anti-war crusader. He looked out to sea. And I am ordering a nuclear strike on Antarctica. 241 nuclear weapons, courtesy of the United States, buried 50 meters deep along a fissure at 3-kilometer intervals, all going off at the same time. I nodded slowly. They tell me the radiation will be minimal, he said. Yeah, if it's any consolation, they're fusion bombs. I pulled my jacket tighter. There's a small fission reaction with uranium and stuff that sets... I have to sneeze. Bless me. There's a small fission reaction with uranium and stuff that sets off that much larger fusion reaction. And the big explosion is just hydrogen and helium. No radiation from that. Well, that's something. And this was the only option, I asked. Why can't we have factories mass-produce sulfur or hexafluoride or some other greenhouse gas? He shook his head. We'd need thousands of times the production that we could possibly do. Remember, it took us a century of burning coal and oil on a global scale to even notice it was affecting climate at all. He checked his tablet. The shelf will cleave at the line of explosion. At the line of explosions, and slowly work its way into the sea and melt. Sea levels will rise about a centimeter over the next month. The ocean temperature will drop a degree, which is a disaster of its own, but never mind that for now. Enormous quantities of methane will be released into the atmosphere. And now, methane is our friend. Methane is our best friend, and not just because it'll keep us warm for a while. Oh? Methane breaks down in the atmosphere after 10 years. We can knock chunks of Antarctica into the sea every few years to moderate the methane level. And if Hail Mary finds a solution, we just have to wait 10 years for the methane to go away. You can't do that with carbon dioxide. Strat approached us. Time? 60 seconds, he said. She nodded. So this solves everything, I asked. Can we just keep poking Antarctica for more methane to keep Earth's temperature right? No, he said. It's a stopgap, at best. Dumping the scrap into our atmosphere will keep the warmth in the air, but the disruption to our ecosystem will still be massive. We'll still have horrific, unpredictable weather, crop failures, and biome annihilation. But maybe, just maybe, it won't be quite as bad as it would have been without the methane. I looked at Strat and Leclerc standing side by side. Never in human history had so much raw authority and power been invested into so few people. These two people, just these two, were going to literally change the face of the world. I'm curious, I say to Strat. Once we launch Hail Mary, what will you do then? Me, she said. Doesn't matter. Once the Hail Mary launches, my authority ends. I'll probably be put on trial by a bunch of pissed-off governments for abuse of power. Might spend the rest of my life in jail. I'll be in the cell next to you, said Leclerc. Are you at all concerned about that? She shrugged. We all have to make sacrifices. If I have to be the world's whipping boy to secure our salvation, then that's my sacrifice to make. You have a strange logic to you, I said. Not really. When the alternative is death to your entire species, things are very easy. No moral dilemmas, no weighing what's best for whom, just a single-minded focus on getting this project working. That's what I tell myself, Leclerc said. 3, 2, 1. Detonation. Nothing happened. The coastline remained as it was. No explosion, no flash, not even a pop. He looked at his tablet. The nukes have detonated. The shockwave should be here in 10 minutes or so. It'll just sound like distant thunder, though. He looked down at the carrier deck. Strat put her hand on his shoulder. You did what you had to do. We're all doing what we have to do. He buried his face in his hands and cried. Bitch. Sorry. That was mean. Anyway, we are going to pause it there because we're almost at time. Hold on, let me get my bookmark here. I'll remember where we left off. It should be pretty easy. But yes, we are now like halfway through the book. A little past halfway through the book, actually. A little bit past. More. Keep reading. If it was like a weekend, I would keep reading, but it is not a weekend. And I'm also very tired, and I have to be up early tomorrow. So, but don't leave just yet. We are going to go raid somebody. Also, stream tomorrow. We are playing more Outlast, which I'm hoping we can like sort of finish, soon. I think we're close to finishing. I think I only have like a couple parts left in it. But yes, Outlast tomorrow. Let's see. Who shall we raid today? Who shall we raid? I just look up past reading for chapter 3 to 12 to catch up. Yes. They should all be there. So let's see. Let's raid. Oh, let's go raid Technomancer. Oh, we could do Director Chugi too. Thank you for being the audiobook for today. No problem. Okay, let's set up that raid. Hopefully I spelled that right. Yes. Okay, perfect. All right, my travelers. Hopefully I will see you tomorrow. If not, I will catch you in the next one. But have a good night, day, whatever it may be for you. Can I suggest a book for the future? Oh yeah, go for it before I hit the raid button. Yeah. What's the book for the future? Actually, I'll hit the raid button right now. But Hollywood Ghost Stories. Okay, I'll write that down. I know the next book we were planning on reading was Dungeon Crawler Crawl 2. So I'll probably read that, and then we can look at Hollywood Ghost Stories, because that sounds very interesting. But right, like I said, have a good night, or hopefully I will see you all tomorrow. If not, I will catch you in the next one. But have a good night, day, whatever it may be for you, travelers, and bye-bye.